Hey there all, this here's Hedrick. Hedrick really hopes that you're having a good day today. So what is it we're doing here today? An Advent Calendar sketchbook. Now, Advent calendars are one of my absolute favorite things about the holiday season. For those less familiar with Advent, when I speak of it, I'm talking about the 12 to 24 day countdown. This year, I had the joy to stumble upon my favorite variant of Advent calendars ever. Now, I really like prompt books because they kind of give you inspiration to work with. So the fact that somebody released an Art Advent Calendar sketchbook. Enter the Cassie Projects, an artist and YouTube content creator who has released, conveniently enough, Art Advent Sketchbook. It is a book of 25 Christmas-inspired prompts to be followed throughout December on that countdown to Christmas. So without further ado, we are going to start with day 2. Why day 2? Because I do have footage from doing day 1. However, it's not from the best quality of anything. Day 2, however, we do have footage for. And now the prompt for this day is a bundle of gifts. Fill this page with boxes, presents, and gifts. Let this page be abundant with ribbon and color. So very appropriate. Now, for anybody following along with their own Art Advent Calendar sketchbook, day 2 is not the second prompt in the book. I actually took a look at the numbering of days on the cover, and I used that to select which days I would do which prompts. So for the first day, it's actually the 11th prompt. So I have flagged my beautiful book here. I have been working on it from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, how what have you, but based on where the dates fall in the quote-unquote calendar.
Now, shall we begin?
When I saw this prompt, I immediately had an idea. It talked about ribbon, it talked about color, and it talked about boxes, and all I could think of was textures and patterns. And I have a lot of scrapbook paper because when I travel, I make little journals which contain my flight details, my hotels, etc., as well as envelopes and stuff for receipts, what have you, and I really like theming it to the trip. So I have all sorts of supplies, and I was like, oh, these would be perfect for making gifts. My first step was to create a sketch because I was planning on pasting in pieces of paper. I wanted to have a plan. And then it was time to get my supplies. It took me far too long to find everything because I spread my art supplies across 4 rooms at the best of times. So I pulled together my washi tapes, I pulled together my scrap papers, I dug through them to try and find something thematic that fits, and I got myself straight to work. Digging through my papers, I found this little stack of animal posters that I'd picked up for a little parcel I put together for friends once upon a time. And I found this little hedgehog. And now Hedrick, my felted needle hedgehog, is somewhat of a mascot for me, so I knew immediately it had to be part of the prompt. So I went about figuring out exactly where he was going to go, what kind of background he'd have, worked on cutting him out precisely. Maybe didn't do the best job with figuring out how to use my X-Acto knife, scalpel, I'm not a doctor. And so it took me a little while, but I got him all figured out. My camera was not the most reliable toy in the toy chest. So there's going to be a couple of magical moments where it just kind of skips ahead. But suffice to say, I kept digging through, finding the perfect papers, pasting them into place, moving on to the next one. Let me tell you, the glittery paper is possibly the death of me, or should have been. It is definitely the death of glitter in my mind and affection. You'll see when I'm working with washi tape how it didn't want to adhere, or how when I do some fine line work, it didn't want to take the ink, which is really my own fault, being LGBTQ2S+ involved and ally and whatever. You would think I would know the hazards of glitter, but alas, yeah. So as we continue with the project, we have a magical moment of suddenly a lot done and some ribbons done, and then a magical moment of I'm going to be using pencil crayons to color in the beautiful little Hedrick. And these are soft core coloring pencils that I've acquired mostly from Amazon resale, because that and thrift stores are kind of how I acquire art supplies without breaking the bank. That said, yeah, I colored, but you're not going to get a chance to see it because I'm just so magical that it, boom, was fast forwarded through the very end. And this, in the end, is what the page looks like. I used a blender to soften the colors on Hedrick and the floor shading. I used one of my brush pens to create some firm lines. I put the date and my name, and then I covered it in the best thing to use for a book like this. I used matte Mod Podge. I use matte Mod Podge because it won't stick to the other paper. Yes, you do need to let it sit and, completely and utterly dry, but it's not going to suddenly decide to be merged and one with the other sheet. I'm going to be able to flip through the book. It is a trick I learned from, I believe, Mariah Elizabeth or someone else. Anyway, it's one I use quite frequently when doing prompt books like this. And here is the finished product of prompt number 2, a bundle of gifts. It's a tiny bit messy, but so is most of my life, so I'm quite proud of that factor. I adore the little Hedrick I drew. I think he looks absolutely great. I am pleased with the approach I used to not just simply draw something, but to attempt kind of a mixed media collage piece. So yeah, that's what we did to start. Thank you for watching this first video. My name is Kichi. This channel, Kichi What, is where I'm going to be expressing myself creatively. I do a lot of different things, from resin to soap to prompt books to painting. So I hope you will join myself and my buddy Hedrick here on our journey. Our next prompt is going to be, what is your favorite snack? And I was quite excited to do this one because I was able to use a new art supply. So check out that video for more. And an incredible thank you to Cassie of the Cassie Projects for creating the Art Advent Sketchbook. I was so excited to buy my own copy, and it is a great gift for any artist or creative friend. So take a look. Again, link is in the description. And meanwhile, I adore you all. We will catch you all at the next video, so stay safe.